Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Ondiavari Presents, the series where I bring you the creepiest real-life stories and locations from around the world. Before we begin, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you never miss a future episode. If you enjoy this episode, be sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Now sit back, turn off the lights, and let's begin. I have never really told this story, only to my close friends, and even with them, I still never say the complete story. I'm afraid they'll call me crazy. Also, I don't like telling the story a lot. I would love an answer, but every time I tell it, I start to sweat and my body trembles. Here goes nothing. Also, I know it's a pretty long story, but please, it's worth the read. What happened still haunts me to this day. I just want answers. Since I was very little, I knew I had this sixth sense. Things used to torment me a lot, surround me, wanting my attention. Even more when I was little and without knowledge of what was around me. Little by little, I started to realize when it was only fear and when it was a real impulse. I call it sometimes pulse or vibration, this feeling that overcomes me when something is near. I started to know when it was maybe a peaceful thing or when it was a bad thing. I still sometimes doubt, what is it that I sense? I guess spirits, for lack of a better word. This night, I was 15. I could still sense stuff around me. Also, I was getting a little into magic and witchcraft, but not into any type of magic known. My young brain wanted to tap into new ways of making magic. I do believe it's real, although I get it. By this point, you might have already crossed me off as crazy. But finish the story, please. Anyways, every Friday I would go and have a sleepover at my best friend's house. Sometimes we were like 8 dudes in his house, and sometimes it was just my best friend and me. This particular day, it was only my best friend, Sam, fake name for privacy, Charles, again fake, and me. I had never felt anything in Sam's house, at least not something that made my pulsation go wild since entering the house. But I brushed it off. I was surrounded by my friends and his family. Nothing bad would happen. And also, I felt it very apart from where I was. I knew it wouldn't do something while I was around my friends at least. That night, Sam's parents and sister were out for a party and were coming back really late. No one else in the house but us and his 2 dogs, which were always kept in the backyard. The afternoon flew by. I kept feeling that thing, but at moments I was having so much fun with Sam and Charles that at times, I wasn't even noticing how wild the pulsing was. That night we decided to sleep in the game room. The game room is on the 2nd floor. To get to it is a long way. From the stairs, you are immediately in the upstairs living room. You turn left, and you have to cross a hallway with no other doors beside the one from the upstairs living room to the game room. Also, there's no toilets except for the one in Sam's parents' room, and one that was shared by his sister and him, which were turning right from the stairs. Once the sun started to settle down, I felt like going to pee, but no one else was in the house already. The only humans were my friends and I, on the other side of the house where the toilet was. And that thing was still in the house. I could still feel it, so I decided not to go. It wasn't an urgent matter anyway. It wasn't until later in the night. Sam was already fast asleep, but Charles was awake. We had, in fact, turned all the lights off. Suddenly, I had the most urgent feeling of going to pee. I thought about peeing in a bottle, but there wasn't any in the room. Also, Charles told me not to be a chicken about it, and obviously my toxic masculinity refused to ask Charles to come with me to the restroom. It's ridiculous. The bathroom was there, in the house. It would take 5 minutes at most, I told myself. I got the guts to go to the restroom, cross the hallway, past the living room without anything weird happening. In fact, I was going a little fast since the urgency. Finally, I made my necessities and about to head out. But when I was about to, my pulsation went off, like crazy off. The most horrific feeling overcame me. Something inside me was begging me not to open that door, that if I opened it, well, something bad was going to happen. It was drilling in my head not to, that something was out there and that it was dangerous. I thought so much at that moment. I thought of screaming for Charles at the risk of sounding like a chicken. I thought of sleeping in the bathroom. Honestly, I would have slept in the bathroom if it wasn't because it was really small. The floor was cold and there were no towels in there. I stood there in the little bathroom trying to decide, but what? Was I really going to risk getting sick for probably just my brain playing me a sick game? Finally, I decided to open the door. Instantly, I felt my body tense. The whole house seemed even darker. The streetlights that were entering the windows before I entered the bathroom were barely there. And in the corner, the right corner in front of me, was a figure. Something was there much, much darker than the darkness around it. I started walking. I was going so slow, trying not to make any sound. I could hear my pulse rushing. I thought of stopping and sleeping in my friend's room. But then I would be the whole night completely alone, at the mercy of this weird thing that was making my body so scared. I wanted to run. I wanted to scream, but I was scared of it. I could tell any sudden moves were going to end bad. I was finally about to enter the hallway when something made me turn my head to the corner. I really wish I hadn't. The most hideous thing I had ever seen, its face. That face was horrible. I felt it as if it was getting burned into my eyes, into my brain. That face was all I saw that second. Tears instantly rushed to my eyes. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. I felt so much fear, pain, shame, madness, hate at the same time. This was all at the same time, not like one happens after the other. Something big fell in the first floor. It made the house shake. My friend's dog started barking, also at the same time. I rushed quickly through the hallway into the game room, tears in my eyes. Did I just imagine all of that? Was I finally crazy? When I entered the room, I couldn't feel the presence anymore. It had all calmed down. Except it hadn't. What made that crashing sound? Asked Charles. I looked at him. I wasn't crazy. I didn't make up that sound. Just as I couldn't make up that horrible face in my head, it was still there in my brain, as if it was tattooed in my retina and I couldn't remove it. I thought of drawing it, the face, but no, I couldn't. It was too much. It was too much of a horrible thing. I didn't answer my friend's question. I just laid down in the bed sofa and watched the ceiling. Sam's dogs were finally calming down. They were no longer barking like crazy. I analysed the face for a second in my head. I had seen how sometimes we can make faces out of little pieces from things we had seen before, but there was nothing that came close to it. Nothing in those creepy videos or cursed images that was the least similar. It was so much worse than all of them. It wasn't possible for a human mind to come up with that. I don't even know how I fell asleep. I was still in shock, I guess. Next thing in the morning was that I didn't remember the face. I remember the feelings I felt when I saw into it though. I remember it really well. Even to this day, I don't remember that horrible face, but I know it makes me start to sweat and shake. I'm thankful for my brain for repressing that image out of my head. And I'm also glad I didn't draw it so that it could haunt me forever. Nothing fell down in the first floor, even though it shook the house. Whatever it was, My friends and I decided it was a demon. But I don't know what it was, or why me. Why did it disappear after showing itself to me? I'm scared. Scared that one day that thing will show itself again to me. I don't ever want to go through something like that ever again. Does anyone have an idea of what I saw? I do agree, I don't think it was a demon. For me, demons would be more malevolent and would have actually attacked him. Sounds more like either a ghost or maybe even a shadow person. I'll leave it for you guys to decide. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you all for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this presentation. Be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments section below, and remember to leave a like if you enjoyed this video. You can follow me on most social media and even chat with me over at the Outcast Discord server. If you really enjoy what I do, consider supporting me on Patreon from as little as $2 a month. There are rewards, sneak peeks, and other Patreon only exclusives. There is now official Join the Cult merch available from Teespring, so be sure to check that out too. All links are available in the description below. Thank you again, and remember, it's always scarier when it's real. Good night.